Appalachian Podcast. I'm your host, Billy Riddle. With me is my cheeky co-host, Simon Winch. Simon.
It's always good to be here on a Tuesday evening.
It always ends up being a shit show. And I think when I say that, I mean life. Every time, it is nonstop. I was thinking earlier today, I used to think people were exaggerating, parents were exaggerating when they would say, every time I turn around to clean one room, the next one ends up getting destroyed before I can stop it. And it never occurred to me how on point they are. So my entire life was just parading kids around and cleaning up behind them and trying to get something situated. And I'm so freaking exhausted. And, want to just, for a moment, I guess, thoughts and prayers for one of my good friends, Nick Tabor. He was my college roommate, and he lost his mom pretty tragically, a pretty tragic way here recently. I didn't find out till last night, unfortunately, but as soon as I did, I made sure I went up there today to go see him and stuff. And a couple things that makes you, life's precious, but got so many good stories about Nick and me and him raising hell in college. And I wanted to tell some of them to his dad, but I said, I'll hold off because I know y'all been sharing a few of them the last couple of days. And, they were going to try and get together and do a show with him. Because, man, when I was at Radford, just some of the stories, I want to tell some good ones on Nick, but I'm not sure. Let's see. I know one I want to save for the time he comes because that's my favorite one of it all. Because this was a very Simon-esque prank I pulled on him. I'm going to have to put a lot of thought into it. I had to be very cunning. And, but let's see. We would have, he's from Patrick County, and a bunch of his buddies were up there, and a bunch of our buddies were up there. We always had a blast. I'll tell a good one. I had a party at my house back here in Rocky Mount one night. I guess my parents had took off somewhere, so we had some people from back home come over. 20 or 30 of us, not a major one. We used to throw bashers, 200-300 people, but this was just a small one, 40, 50 people. And Nick,
double the damage.
And Nick come down there, and, he was, everybody was having a good time, and the liquor started going and the alcohol, and towards the end of the night, he's out there in the parking lot, and I don't know if he was being 100% serious or he was just, dicking about, or he was, or what, but he said something like F Franklin County or something, and one of my buddies just hauled off and knocked the shit out of him and knocked him clear on his ass. Yeah. He was like, you don't come down here and say that shit.
You don't have that in Franklin County.
No, and these are friends, they'd known each other before, but it was just a nice little lesson for him. But
lesson in consequence.
It's just, yes.
What a concept.
Yeah. There's a lot of that going around.
I do remember one night, I'll tell this one. We were up in Radford, and Nick, he's a pretty suave individual. He could probably get him. He had a good looking girlfriend at the time, whatever, when he was dating, single, whatever the case. And we had a party up at the house one night, and he got about 3 sheets to the wind. And this one old girl, the reference I can give you, she kind of looked like Ozzy Osbourne's daughter, whatever her name was, like 10 years ago. The dark hair, the glasses, kind of heavy set, just gothy or whatever the case may be. She was a little bit bigger than what I would presume Nick would normally be chasing after, whatever the case may be. And you could tell he was kind of nervous about what people were going to think and all this kind of stuff. So me, being the good friend I am, encouraged him. I said, don't worry about what anybody else thinks. To hell with it, and all this kind of stuff, because I was waiting for the after effects. I was waiting for when he did do it, all the shit he was going to catch. And wouldn't you know it, that bastard ended up pushing this poor girl out of his window instead of bringing her back out through the hallway, right onto our trash pile full of beer cans and used pizza boxes right out of the window, and giving her a good old shove in her rear end. We had a...
Thank you for sharing that, Billy.
That was a very tame minor one.
I'm sure he's going to appreciate that, as he's that poor young lady.
She's not going to listen. I don't even know what her name is. She's gone. But
as well.
But the people who will listen will probably understand it and have a good one. So, but it's just it's wild. It's just getting that phone call last night and responding to it and stuff, because you just never know, man. Life's crazy. It's in 1 minute and here the next, and you never can really...
Makes you reflect.
It really does. It really does. But, they're a great family, and I've always been really good people. So shout out to them. Hopefully to get him and some of our buddies from up his way on the show soon to talk about some of those stories. But today, we're sitting here with Buddy Hancock once again of the now defunct Buddy's Barbecue and now Appalachian Podcast Barbecue. I mean, Rocky Mountain Smokehouse.
There we go. It was almost a Freudian
Was that on the ballot? I don't remember seeing that one. On
You
the
see,
ballot.
I'm pretty sure it was a write-in. I think we
was it
were
a write-in
we
on the
were
ballot?
removed from the ballot because I believe we were being indicted somewhere on the west part of the county, so we were removed. But we had enough write-ins to really make a difference. I think our cries were ignored.
I'm sorry about that, sir.
But I am a little pleased. To some
possibly
degree.
censored. Oh, dare I say such a thing?
There is a barbecue conspiracy going on here in Franklin County. We're going to get to the bottom of it here. I know people out there listening, and if you can understand what we're talking about here, just shoot us some emails, feed us some information here. I really want
For those that know, it will always be Buddies.
That's right.
I think so.
For those that know, if you know, you know.
And that's still my name. That part can't be changed. So
Exactly, it's the underground.
that's
It's the underground.
I was telling my daughter, earlier I was trying to explain to her how it's the Rocky Mountain Smokehouse now. It's not really called Buddy's Barbecue, and she was fit to be tied. She started crying. She's like, "What do you mean? I love Buddy's. I don't want it to be gone." I was like, "No. It's just." I was like, "It's your mommy used to be Tara Brown. Then she got married. Now she's the same person. She's got a new name." And she kind of calmed down She's like,
that was a very good analogy.
I think we're going. Yeah, I think
That
from
is a good
now on
analogy.
we're just going to say we're going up to Buddy's because she knows Buddy and stuff, and for her it's easier. We're just going to go to Buddy's place and eat. So
There you go. If
come
you
see
know,
Buddy.
you know.
Come see Buddy.
If you know, you know.
real quick for everybody out there, Appalachian Podcast, you can find us on Patreon if you want to subscribe. Look, every little bit helps. Once again, I got to say this because we take this and we reinvest it back in equipment and travel and expenses to bring you these great shows. Plus, we finally got Simon's Twitter. We're going to start doing some of the spaces here too. We've talked to Spike. We're going to have some good stuff. We're going to translate that over to our Patreon page, so you're going to get some more subscriber-only content. It's only $3 a month, and you can give more if you want to. If somebody out there wants to give more, by all means. Otherwise, you can hit us up and do a one-time at PayPal, Cash App. Cash App, Venmo are both get on tap. And we appreciate those of you who do that. At some point in time, we're going to reach out to some sponsors. I don't want to nickel and dime with 20 different sponsors like a race team and have 20, you know what I mean? Like for this, it's just kind of a different thing. I would rather, have fringe benefits here and there, like some people who have a barbecue joint give me a beer here and there, for shot. Yeah, exactly. I mean, for me, that's more important. I just want people to come here and spend money and hang out. And, that's more important to me. So I don't, but at some point in time, yeah, maybe somebody will come along like, here's $10,000, name your studio, this studio, done. Here, we can be the bikini car wash studios for all I care, whatever the case may be.
Don't make me do it, Billy.
I don't want to nickel and dime it though, so.
I'm not doing it.
What's that?
Anything to do with bikinis.
Well, no, you wouldn't. I mean, but we're going to have a conversation about that as well here in a second. So patreon.com/getontap. For our subscribers, you can get all of our shows early when we start recording a bunch of shows early and have 2 or 3 in the hole. You can all go get them over there. And like I said, the spaces are coming here soon. So for that being said, also Rocky Mountain Burger Company, Brian does throw quite a bit our way. He's been super good to us. Had 2 events over the past couple of weeks down there. One, my mom's birthday party, big surprise, usually upstairs. Second one was our fantasy football draft on Sunday. So any events you got, go up to the Burger Company. They got a cool upstairs. If it's a good enough event, Trinity will come. I think she's kind of like our personal. At this point in time, she comes in for all of our events, but it's a sweet little spot up there. I think we're going to start trying to do some shows live, maybe up there, maybe live at
That's
Buddy's
a cool
again.
place.
Get some.
I've been up there. I like going up
Right.
there.
I don't understand like we we go to some of these places and make what a band makes. We're offering the same service, except people sit. They might stay the whole time because they want to listen to the whole conversation. So that's more beer they're drinking, more nachos they're buying, more barbecue they're slamming down. So got a lot of cool stuff coming up here in the near future.
I'm not letting you get off the hook with this. You've now enticed me into Twitter. That means I'm twittering.
You're
and potentially
Xing. It's called X now.
Well, X now, whatever you want to call it, but it really is twittering, which actually makes me a bit of a twit.
Well, if a shoe fits.
Hey, listen, I'm just beating someone else to the punch.
But you really haven't really got on there very much. You need to get on there and explore. I've still got the page under our whole umbrella over here, so I try and get on it and repost some of the stuff for the show for you. But you need to get in there and interact a little bit with the people because your notifications out to yin yang all the time. But speaking of not letting somebody off the hook and social media, I'm trying to understand why there's a picture of me going around on the Franklin County meme farm. Buddy, have you seen that one?
Somehow that popped up today on my feed.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was
So,
interesting.
Simon, I would like for you to perhaps explain the motive.
Well, you see, I'm going to actually have to claim the fifth on this because I actually wasn't behind any of the decision-making or posting of said post. But I did find it rather amusing that Billy, with a shit-eating grin, is sat there wearing a very nice pair of sort of pinkish Bermuda shorts, looking like he's in the sun somewhere enjoying himself. And unfortunately, the undercarriage is just
Exposed.
flashed. From a picture that you posted your good self.
My wife.
Oh,
They were
wife
professional
posted it.
pictures when we go to Destin.
Oh, dear.
She usually gets this guy to come out and take professional family portraits. on
Not
the
very
beach.
professional.
Look, I don't know much, but I can tell you probably the breeze was nice that day.
I'm still claiming the fifth on this one because I
You can claim the fifth all you want to. I know where it come from, and I know you all share a household, and you cannot. You're
saying I'm going to be collateral damage at some point again, Billy.
I know you don't have to. What's the word I'm thinking of when you got to go to court? I haven't had a few drinks. You can't testify against your spouse, so I guess you're going to implement that
Plead the
to
fifth.
some degree here. Yeah, plead the fifth, but you're still not required to. But I would think just as a friend, you would go above the morality of it and try and help me figure out what the motive was. What's the modus apparatus?
I just think there was an opportunity presented itself. And
Was this revenge for me putting the photo up of my wife from the airport?
I think that may have been incorporated in that decision making, but I can't speak for said person.
Wife got off a plane and I had a sign my kids holding up said "Welcome home from rehab, mommy," and we're waiting at the bottom of the escalator
Oh,
in
nice.
Greensboro. We got a
Oh.
good laugh out of that. And-
I bet she appreciated that.
oh,
so
she
much.
loved it. She
That was
loved it.
better than flowers.
Yes, exactly. Because she won't remember the flowers. She'll remember that.
That's always.
Oh,
and
yes, she
and
will.
you will probably be reminded of that pretty regularly, I'm sure.
Yeah, because especially on Facebook now, they just show your memories every year, so you just gotta share it every
That
single.
may have been where it came from.
Either way, I'm disappointed in this person for their actions.
It was to a targeted audience. It has to be said.
And what's that target audience?
The meme was it the meme?
It was. It's a bunch of degenerates.
and they
on
are a bunch of degenerates.
and how many people probably shared it to other places, and it's making its way around the internet.
Well, it was getting Amos calling us at 11 o'clock. We're tucked up in bed, about to nod off. The phone goes, it's Amos. Heather picks the phone up. He couldn't talk. He was just howling, laughing. So, this is entertainment, Billy. View it as entertainment.
Well, speaking of entertainment, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next subject because I don't think that part of my anatomy is worth discussing any further on this podcast. That's between me, my wife, and God. And now apparently Heather and the meme farm and all of Facebook. So speaking of entertainment, our buddy Spike Cohen was on Timcast IRL last night. Go search that. If you have whatever app you listen to our show on, go search that one. It was a great show.
We got a great
We
shout out.
got a great shout on there. It's the most listened to show on YouTube, the most watched nightly show in its category on YouTube. Hundreds of thousands of views, plus millions of other listens on the audio side. So we got a shout out by them, and then of course Spike. He had some good things to say about Simon and us, or Simon and myself. So that was really, really cool. So go listen to that show in its entirety because Spike was a great guest to have and super intelligent and a good guy. And we like to support him and some of the stuff he does. And it gives you a different side of him in that one. Because our show, we were kind of trying to bring some of that out of him, but I think we just brought the redneck out of him instead. It was a whole... It ended up going...
Yeah, you had guns and cannons.
And chickens running around and goats.
And chickens. And whole fish.
And pretty fine Tucker too.
Yeah.
That was some good grub.
Yes.
But Spikes, he's been super cool to us and for us. We're hoping to go down sometime in November. And do like a 4-day weekend at Myrtle Beach. Simon, myself, maybe Chip, the families, get us a Airbnb, a hotel, something like that, and maybe go let the wives and Tasha go out for a brunch and shopping day. We can do a gazebo podcast, and then that evening go get us some crab legs and chow down.
You're hurting me, Billy. You just sent my wife on a shopping trip with Tasha.
You deserve it
Oh,
for not stopping her from posting pictures of my undercarriage, as you so eloquently put it.
I see how this is going to work.
But understand this. This is mutually assured destruction as well, because I'll be sending my wife is there. But I also actually have a built-in, what's it called when you can destroy yourself, like a built-in self-destruct button through my children. So my children will prevent her from getting too involved and wanting to buy things, because she's got to be worried about chasing them here, chasing them there. I just have to hope Tasha or Heather or Chip's wife don't sit there and start offering her assistance and things like that.
So. Oh, that gives her a free hand for the credit card.
Exactly. I probably just kind of hide the card and just send her out a couple $100 in cash and say, this is your limit. But you can have... Actually,
then they're straight to the casino trying to
I'm going to have all the feminists
trying to double
out there.
or nothing.
I'm going to have all the feminists that, how dare you tell your wife how much because she makes more than me. She really does. Over the table.
The IRS are listening.
The hell with the damn IRS. What are they going to do? Show up here with one of those dipshits just ended up shooting one of the other dipshits out there in Arizona a couple weeks ago. These people shouldn't be armed in the first damn place. And they're
not
out there.
Not with that mandate.
And, 87,000 of them ain't out there to investigate, a couple hundred millionaires. I can tell you that. You don't need that much. So, I ain't worried about you, IRS, whatever. Come do your investigations. I don't care. But let's get to our guest and kind of about what he's here tonight for. And that is, I have no earthly idea, but I like Buddy. I want him to come on here. And
well, we're glad to be here.
Yeah. And I want him to, first off, so, you were one of our first 10 or 11 guests. I mean, one of the first, and I was super excited about it because, when I started this thing up, I'm like, who in the hell wants to go waste a couple of hours of their time talking to us? And I'm like, you know what I mean? And it's kind of hard to try and convince somebody to do it, but we've grown so much here, and I've tried to throw over those couple of years for that as many people your way as I possibly can. Like you were there in the beginning, and told a lot of cool stories back then. I guess we've got a lot of cool ones to tell since then. So first off, why, whatever you can divulge about the name change, let's explain this to people for anybody that doesn't know.
Well, so I guess about May, 1st of May, we got a certified letter in the mail.
They're never good normally.
Yeah. And so I was a little like when I opened it, it was kind of a little nervous about opening it, and of course when I opened it up and read the letter, it was a 20-day cease and desist letter from this company that was not in the state of Virginia but in the state of Tennessee, stating that we had infringed on their name usage. And I was
That's an interesting law.
I was like, it's my name. How did I do that? But did some research. Of course, called my attorney, and he researched it. And in 1977, they had trademarked the name Buddies.
And trademark laws are
the trademark. And so, when I researched, right,
as a name. Now, come on.
I researched before I opened up, here, because my name was Buddy. I was like, I researched Buddy's Barbecue in Virginia.
Do they have an entity in Virginia?
Not yet, but I do think that is in the
but at the time,
future plans.
At the time, they didn't.
Correct.
That's a toughie.
So I think their future plan. I mean, they have 19 locations.
Big franchise,
right? So I mean, I've got one location. I don't have the funding to battle that type of thing. So and after looking at the paperwork, all right, I'm sorry, I was in the wrong, but there still are Buddy's
lines,
barbecues all over the country that aren't associated with them that are still out there. So
potentially,
just saying,
they're going to have the same problem,
right?
If that franchise, but
eventually they will if they move into that area, or if it gets big enough.
So
correct.
What you're what you're saying there is the trademark of the name trumps even if they don't have an entity in the state that you're trading, that trademark they can pursue aggressively.
Yes,
when they choose.
Correct. Yeah, because it was 6 years. We've been open for 6 years.
Yeah. Okay, I get it. I mean, it is what it is.
And I mean, when as a business owner now, looking back at it, I guess if I was wanting to expand my name and grow to the size that they're obviously wanting to be, then I could see that as being an issue.
Was there franchise in existence when you name your business?
Yes.
To what extent? So the trademark was in place at that point.
Yeah,
so,
the trademark was in place.
I get it.
Since 1970. I was 7, so it was like, which that kind of gives my age a little bit, which I'm too old, but still, that's a long time. So it was like, if it would have been like 6 months, then I'd be like, yeah, you know what, we might get we got something here. But no, it was just too far at that point to argue, and so that's when we decided to try to make lemonade out of lemons, and talk with my attorney and everything, and got a lot of support from the townspeople. We opted to do a Facebook voting and let the people choose.
We tried, Billy.
I'm sorry, Appalachian Podcast didn't make the cut on
Appalachian
that.
Podcast, Smokehouse.
Smokehouse, yeah, sorry.
Or barbecue. Either roll off the tongue
Appalachian
super
barbecue,
nicely. Yeah.
Which I think there's already Appalachian barbecue out there, but we had to look at several names, so we tried to pick like 10 names that I liked, and I had several favorites in there, but we picked those 10. It was supposed to have been 5 to begin with, but it just kind of kept growing. Well, what about this? What about this? And then, of course, after we put the TBD, on the boards, we had to put that up to kind of stop everything with the buddies. We'd already put the names out for the vote. Then everybody's like, the TBD, and I'm like, tag on, that, the best damn barbecue. I mean, to be determined barbecue.
Yeah.
So
that does have a ring as well.
I know it. So it was kind of like, daggone, we missed that one, but the people voted, and they wanted us to be a representative of this community. So that meant a lot to me, and that says a lot, because if I ever do, hopefully we will expand in the future. And, I'd like to go to Tennessee one day and put a Rocky Mountain Smokehouse beside somewhere. That would be kind of cool, wouldn't it? Right?
Directly opposite.
Yeah. It'd be, that's,
opposing
that's
corners.
Those dreams you have. Yeah. But, for them to, for the town and the people of this community. And, really, we had people in Roanoke, all over, my hometown, Eden, and everybody, online voting. We had online. I had ballot boxes at Roos, Rocky Mountain Burger, Jose's, El Rio, the Living Proof Brewery, Ippy's. Just the local support around here is just amazing.
That's fantastic to hear. And that's what community is about, right?
Yeah, and that's the way it should be. A lot of people say, "Oh, restaurants don't support each other." Man, not here. Like Ella's Eats, I am so proud of her.
Oh, she's done a fantastic job.
Amazing, and she won the Wing Fest this weekend.
Yeah, power to her. She
took it. We were hoping to pull it out. We did win Best Smoked Wing at Wing Fest, but she won Best Creative Wing, and then she won overall Wing Fest. So, shout out to her. It was her first event there. She had talked to me a few times. I tried to give her as much info as I could to help her out, and she gave us a shout out on Facebook, which was cool. It really meant a lot to me. Just good people around here, and the restaurant community is so supportive of each other. If we're out of something, I can call Brian, I can call Ippy's, I can there's and they can call me.
And he's not blowing smoke too. I've had conversations with Jody before years ago, and this was back when Game Day was around here. I don't know if either one of y'all remember that time period.
I do remember it.
But she would say this people would say about the competitions like, no, this. It's good for us. It's good because if you only have one place, and everybody's going to get sick and tired of going to it, and eventually they're going to go, always.
Right.
But if you have 10 places in town, then more people are going to want to come because there's going to be more people out socializing, more people at restaurants, more people might find a little music event going on downtown somewhere, but they're going to stick around town and they're going to bounce back. You're better when you have A little bit. Well, you don't want to be
Exactly.
oversaturated,
Right.
but you want the right. And I think Rocky Mount's got a decent.
Yeah, and we're getting there. And we could add a few more. I mean,
Yeah.
And I think honestly now we're at the point where we're starting to pull people from Roanoke to here. I get it all the time. I get people from Henry County.
It's a very easy,
an easy
logistically,
trip.
very easy trip.
Very easy trip, and you don't have to wait an hour and a half to get a seat.
Yeah.
Like if you go to some of these big places in Roanoke, or have to deal with some of the situations going on around these restaurants in downtown area, especially. It's a little dangerous sometimes,
It certainly can be.
especially late at night. But
The premises was originally
Hardee's.
it was a Hardee's.
yes, sir.
Now, when you took that over, it was pre-COVID or kind of in the middle?
Smack dab
We
in the
were
middle
kind of
of
in the middle of it at that.
So that was a ballsy move on your part because
Yeah. It was a
yeah.
little-
Well, I mean,
put them out there. Yeah.
well,
Kind
I
of like
mean,
Billy.
Sometimes. Touche.
Sorry, my bad,
well,
Billy. My bad.
That
I
was
had to
well
get one
played.
in.
I mean, that
That was a corker.
yeah.
So how? Yeah, I mean, there's an element of risk there because that
It
was
is.
a very high risk situation.
I'm still scared every day.
Oh,
Yes.
of course. How have you seen with things opening up? How have you seen your business improve? I hope.
Well, so it's been hard to gauge because COVID, we were just slammed with takeout, and that's one thing that got us through COVID.
Right.
Honestly, without that, we wouldn't have made it. But our takeout, because barbecue is just so easy to take out. But then, the opportunity with the Hardee's building, that was one of the deals that I told them. I was like, we got to renovate. I don't want to look like a Hardee's. 1, 2, I've got to have outdoor dining.
Yep.
Just in case there's a lockdown, because obviously it happened once, it could happen again, and I want to be able to at least have people to be able to have somewhere to eat, and not have to worry about so much on the takeout, and and I wanted to be able to provide some music and have an open area, and then the location being right
So
beside the high school.
your business plan has probably expanded from COVID.
Yes.
So it's very difficult to judge
It has.
how we are now in the new normal.
I'm just now starting to get to where I can see numbers, whether I'm good or bad. You know what I mean? Whether
Yeah.
like my P&Ls, because we opened up July a couple of years ago. So when you, of course, your first opening is crazy numbers. So you're way up there. Then we had the last July, and the numbers were way different. They were lower because we don't have the newness.
Right.
And then
So
we're
it's
seeing
settling. It's that
right.
settling.
So this July, I can actually see, hey, this is our numbers. Okay, so we're actually 5% above last year's July, which is a good
so
sign.
That's
that means
encouraging in this
Right,
current
correct.
environment.
right in this coronavirus.
How did you find, or how were you impacted by? This is a bit of a cheeky question. How were you impacted by the increase in the food tax?
None.
Oh, and the cheeky question is, was that cost passed on to your customer, or did you eat it?
We had to pass it on.
You had to pass it on. So
Correct.
effectively, then you would. If it
I think
was-
that's probably every business had to
Well,
do that
of
in
course.
town. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
that's nothing.
But you haven't seen
A decrease.
No.
a dip. Now that's a great thing.
No,
Which,
I have not.
well, either way, it would be considered. I mean, it's for something like that. Not to get off course. It's the slow boiling frog analogy or whatever. You're not really going to recognize or notice something as minimal as it was, but
Right.
But if you do it every single year, over year,
Yeah.
eventually it gets to that
It
point
was,
in time. But
you know,
it was cool because the last time we had you on, you hadn't quite moved into the new place yet. You were still
Yeah, I think
you had a
we're
lot of
working
butterflies, for lack of a better term, about it. You're still kind of wondering how it was going to turn because even then we still weren't sure which direction the economy was going to go. Not that it's gotten.
I was gonna say, it really hasn't improved much.
Yeah, I mean, whatever guess you took that.
I'm still not sure on where it's going, but I think I know where it might end up.
But we talk about the community support, and you've managed to still, and I think you being open and having all that takeout, and every
We
time
never
somebody
did
would come
close
in,
one day for COVID.
you were always still out there talking to people, asking them how they were doing.
No,
You were
proud
still
of that.
doing your thing. You were being with the community. That way, you gave people a little breath of fresh air during a tough time. So they remembered that when you did open the new location. I'd like to think that, money aside, I would like to think it's probably at least been a success.
I feel like it has, and and a lot of people tell me, we get a lot of outside business. So, we get travelers. I've got people that come in and done YouTube videos from Florida traveling. We've been blessed with a reputation.
Which has been well earned by you, by the way.
Well,
And I'm
try,
more than happy to say that.
but we're human, and we have messed up. And I've gotten some complaint emails, and it's hard when you're trying to deal with 300 to 400 people a day and getting every order right. And it's a struggle sometimes. And staffing is. We're blessed with staffing, but it's still, we still have a turnover. We're a restaurant, and I've got a couple of staffers that have been with me a couple of years, which is pretty much unheard of in the restaurant business. So I've been blessed there. But there's some that it's a rotation, and we have to train, and unfortunately sometimes we learn things the hard way, and I'm always trying to change things to make it better. I think I finally got a French fry that I'm happy with now. After 6 years, we switched to a crinkle cut fry. But I've gone through probably 20 different fries trying to figure out which fry is the best.
I think crinkle cut goes with barbecue best.
Yeah, and we finally settled on that, and
it probably makes a crispier fry.
It does. It does if it's cooked properly, and of course, one thing I too is, and I don't know if people are aware, we try to buy everything premium. So I can buy the $20 bag of crinkle cut fries that have some as big as your fingernail and some big as your thumb, but we try to buy the premium products to give our customers the best.
I think at that, I think in the market you're in, I think you kind of have to.
Yes,
because if you fall into the cheaper products,
right,
you get a cheaper outcome.
Yep,
and ultimately that does catch up with you.
It does.
I'd love to find a way of getting more local products from our farmers that they can support you and you support them. I'd love to be able to explore that at some later point. But I know it's all about price point.
Right.
Everything's about price point.
I've had some farmers reach out, like, pork, but we only use pork butts. It's really what my setup is designed for. And, when you go through 60 to 80 pork butts a week, he's got to figure out what is he going to do with the rest of the pig.
That's always been the problem.
And, and then the price point. Unfortunately, my barbecue sandwich is the highest it's ever been. And I hate it, but I don't have any choice because pork prices it's like a roller coaster.
Yeah. And like you say, you actually bring up a very, very valid point here. When you're looking just for pork butts, you've got to consider how the processor and the supplier has to give you that product without crippling themselves. Now, for example, this is an interesting one you may want to consider. I know when it comes to beef, the brisket is not necessarily a choice from mainstream public in the butcher's aisle in the big box stores, but it's actually a very good product, custom made for smoking.
Oh yes.
So getting into brisket, and I know brisket isn't a cut necessarily that producers can offload as readily. So you're caught in that. So you're picking the cut that is accessible to you at the right price.
Yeah, and
without burdening the producer with a premium cut that leaves them with the lesser cut. So I understand the dynamic, and it's a very complicated one. And that balance, when you find it, is gold.
Yes, it's in trying to find that balance.
Well, that's always going to be the problem. But yeah, I know there's several producers around here probably have an abundance.
I've cooked some of the, and but again, the price point is.
It's all about price point.
And we're having to charge. I mean, and this is buying from, from my food service. We're at $21.99 a pound for brisket.
It's a brute
price point of, and they got to be able to make money. And I tell them,
everyone
like,
does,
guys, I understand, but I've also got to turn a profit because I've got employees to pay. I've got bills to pay.
You've got to make it on the margin.
Right.
And here's a good point. Here's something kind of to relate back to what I was talking about earlier about, Timcast, the show we got to shout on last night. He had a good example of this about a year ago or so. And somebody went and interviewed a restaurant owner down in North Carolina somewhere and asked them about price increases and stuff. And this guy said he was spending, an exorbitant amount extra, like on something just as simple as mayonnaise every single week. Yes. And this place caught so much flack from the internet and so much hell. So, Timcast Tempo, he said, I just called the guy up. Then he called him up and he said, hey, you have this interview, kind of what's the deal with it? He's like, well, I don't understand. I use this mayonnaise to make, different kind of dressings and ranch and all this kind of other stuff. It's like, it's not just
by massive quantities.
It's not just mayonnaise going on sandwiches and stuff. This is,
and when you get dressing, we have it in our sauce, in one of the white sauce. We use it in our dressing. I mean, and
if the price of mayonnaise goes up, a tick or two here or there, I mean, you really, people don't understand every little ingredient. I remember a few years ago, it was like Delta or USA, or they said, from here going forward, we're going to start serving 2 less olives in their salads for flights. And in that fiscal year, I think they said they saved $50,000 or $60,000. This was 15 years ago.
Yeah,
2 less olives.
Yeah,
2 less olives.
But that's about supplying the volume market. But you're talking about the volume purchase as well.
Well, and look, I mean, to-go stuff, it's doubled what it was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, and there was times where we couldn't even get it during COVID. I struggled. I mean, I dealt with 3 different food providers. It was crazy. Thankfully, it's not, supplies are much leveled out, but the pricing did not.
No, if anything, it went through the roof.
Yes.
It went through the roof.
It's,
where else do you get?
A to-go box is just, it tripled in price.
Yeah, just for the container.
But I can't go to a consumer and say, well, you got to give me a quarter for this to-go box. You know what I'm saying? It's.
Yeah, but you have to be aware of every price point that then becomes your finished product.
Right. And then
so it's that combination, and then you've got to look at whatever percentage it is to make your margin.
Right.
And when you get that wrong,
yep,
there are consequences.
Very big ones.
Yeah. So
then you got to figure in salaries now. I mean, hourly wage is got now at $12 an hour versus.
So the whole thing becomes about efficiency and getting your price point from your supplier on the money. And ultimately, if we're looking to support local producers, and pork will always be a tough one, and quite frankly, local producers can't do it. They'll never compete.
Yeah, they just can't.
They just can't.
I mean, I wish they could. I really do.
And that's a common thread.
We do use our local lettuce from 4 Oaks Farms.
4 Oaks and Jerry. Bless him.
Jerry is awesome.
Man, that guy's got it going on.
Yep.
He knows what he's doing. That is a very, very sharp individual.
We've been buying lettuce from them for 6 years now.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and his leafy greens, really, the way he presents them, the ethic in which he grows them, just fits everything about local produced products.
Yep.
And that's a cool thing. So, the more that we can expand on that, I think the better we're doing our community justice as well. But there's a certain point where you just can't do it.
Right.
And we get that.
And I'm trying to work with, I think it's KC Farms.
Yeah, there's Chase.
Yeah,
absolutely
Chase,
superb.
Love him, great.
Yeah,
we did a brisket sampling for him a couple of months ago, and I've got some beef ribs that I'm gonna be cooking up at some point when I get some time that I can sit down and do it. But we're gonna do a beef rib from him, spotlight.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
We may try to do some spotlight stuff and just say, hey, it is going to be a little bit more price, so this way he can make his money that he needs to make, and then us in turn as well. So.
Exactly, and I think that is how the community is going to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And when those opportunities present themselves, are whether it's Twittering or Xing or whatever you do now, getting yourself out on Facebook, Instagram, whatever it may be. When these opportunities come up, I would love to think that the local community would support them as much as they've supported you in the past, in the fact that they're supporting local produce and producers.
Because they all have great products.
And that's always been the problem, I think, here, is the local producers struggle on price point to be able to present their products in an economically profitable situation for everybody.
Well, and especially right now when everything, gas is so high. I mean, you go to the grocery store, but it's more now. You can kind of see, like, used to go to the grocery store for $100. You actually had your buggy full.
Good luck with that.
And now, you leave with 2 bags in your hand and it's $100.
It's insane. So these prices,
crazy.
These prices are not helping the local producer present his products in a very corporate-driven wholesale market when it comes to restaurants and what have you. They've nearly got it tied down, and it makes it very difficult for a local producer to get in there.
Yep.
And we'd love to be able to find a way to maybe open that opportunity for them. So, but I know you're going to do your best, because it's all about community.
It is.
As it should be. And now it's down to the community supporting that when those products do come out, and you go, hey, here's a special local stuff. Come down this weekend. This is what we got going on. Great. This is how we break that cycle of corporate big ag. And we've got to deal with it. We're dealing with it now on a daily basis with our grocery.
Well, as you kind of mentioned, there's ways you can find around it. Maybe it's, it is kind of hard, like you said, to be a big supplier of it. But maybe you find ways to meet. Maybe we find ways to meet in the middle. Then it's possible that maybe you have just like, well, hey, today we're featuring this farm. We're going to be using. You don't have to do it every day, but maybe this day this guy's like, well, hey, I'm going to supply you with these buddies. You cook them or you smoke them, and then people get to taste our meat, and then you get to sell it. Like, you don't have to do it every single day, but hey, this Saturday we're featuring this farm. Next month we're featuring this farm.
And that's something we want to look at doing.
There are things that we can do around here to always find ways you can't, to intermingle. And once we get to the point to where it becomes kind of a common thing, then you do start talking about, well, maybe those pork producers, what else can they do with that stuff? Well, maybe it's in the bacon. Maybe I open up a bacon and sausage omelet house or something where you go in there and...
Well, bacon is the toughest one to crack, okay? I mean, it really is, because when you do bacon wrong, it's a nightmare. And locally produced bacon, there's only a few people I would trust when it comes to correctly smoking bacon and delivering it.
Well, it doesn't have to be smoked. I mean, you can do much other things, which,
by
the way, Buddy, thank you so very much for bringing bacon to your restaurant now, because this is something that I'd mentioned a couple years ago on the show, that when you can add bacon to that chicken sandwich, spicy number 2, add bacon, pepper jack cheese, I'm telling you what.
Oh, that's your favorite.
I mean, it's...
You could wrap a turd in bacon and you would eat it, Billy.
True, but that's, I mean, I have been hard on that spicy chicken sandwich for years now. I tell everybody, piss off Popeyes, all the rest of them. I said, if you want the best one, go there, get 2 spicy. You can get 3 too. I mean, that's fine. I usually get 2 because Tara likes a bite. But now that you can add bacon to it, it's like adding a gold medal on top of a gold medal. You know what I mean? It really.
Have you tried our burgers yet?
I have, and that was going to be number 2. What I was going to say is, because I'd mentioned that at the time, I'd said, I really hope you incorporate burgers at some point in time, because for another thing, that's something that is a little bit easier to use locally, is just ground beef. If that's all you're going to do, but your burgers are great. You can throw the bacon on them as well.
The ground beef price point, I think locally could be competitive, if there's some negotiation.
Yeah.
With the producers and obviously
do the burgers do good? Do you sell a lot of them?
Oh, we do pretty good with them.
I would think so, because it offers just a little something different.
Yeah, and that's what we want. That's the only reason we brought it in is, you can't have barbecue but so much and you get tired of it. So, we got the catfish, chicken tenders and then the chicken sandwich, and then we brought in that burger all the time just to have a good variety, for people to come 3 times a week.
I'm still waiting for that monthly ribeye steak night. We can go in there and get you something like that.
Yeah, I've got a couple of guys asking me about when I'm going to do the smoked prime rib. So that's.
I mean, those are special different ways, though, that when you think about it, those draw in different, because people mark stuff like that on their calendar. Like, we like going to Buddy's. We try and do it once a week or once every couple of weeks. Well, hey, this date next month, he's doing prime ribs, so let's make sure we mark it on there. Like, different, just small, unique, different ways to put yourself out there really does go a long ways. And, you talk about community and the support and kind of stuff. And I know we've talked about how the last couple of years have went, but before we recorded, we were starting to talk about your event last week. I think that's a culmination of the community and how far you've come and what a good time your place can be. So,
it was amazing. That turned out so amazing. I just still can't believe it happened that big.
So what exactly? It was Josh Owens' benefit, basically. So everybody showed up.
Charlie, so Charlie Mitchell.
Yeah, we've had him on the show before too. Charlie's great.
He kind of started this whole deal a couple months ago. He mentioned it to me. I think he was going to have it at his place, but he's like he felt like it was going to get too big, and he thought, well, my restaurant might be the perfect spot. And I was like, you know what, I'm all in, because Josh, he comes into town. I consider him a friend. He comes and supports me. They come eat, bring the film crew in. We have moonshiners in all the time. He's just good people. And so we, I was like, sure, let's do it. I had no clue it was going to do what it did. And we kind of just threw it together, honestly. And I posted Tuesday. And then, we had already talked to Beth at the hot dog stand to come out. So we're going to have hot dogs. We blocked off our front parking lot. I got all that cleared through ABC, and we put our bar out there, and we had the hot dog stand. And then I think we ended up adding the crispy pig, the pork rinds. Yeah, you got to have pork rinds.
Yeah.
And then we had Tony from the Cocoa Cafe. She came and did smoothies. It was a hot night. So, I mean, it just, and the post blew up. It went over. By the time we were having the deal on Saturday, it had hit over 100,000 people. And I'd never had a post, hit that kind of number.
That's huge.
I mean, it was just
that's
insane.
The power. That is the power of digital media.
Oh,
when you
gosh,
get it
isn't
right.
it crazy? I mean, 100,000 people saw that.
How, and you may not have this. I'm not putting you on the spot. Roughly, how many covers do you think you did?
Gosh, and we had some people just walk in just to go meet Josh and leave. I mean, I'd say at least 300.
Fantastic.
And that's probably minimum.
Yeah, that's great.
So, I mean, it was.
So that sort of thing works, right?
Yeah.
And that's a good event for Rocky Mount. Like, it's something else good.
I had people that drove up from Florida, or we had people from North Carolina, Tennessee, that actually came and stayed in Rocky Mount. So, I mean, they got,
hotel room.
Yeah. So,
etc., etc., etc. Yeah, that's the model that everybody's chasing, and I think Rocky Mount as a town is very close to achieving this.
We're getting there. I mean, I had Tommy and Jody from Ippies were there to support, Anna and Chris Perlman and his wife, and then Brian came out. It was just amazing just to have the fellow people come out and support this.
How are you finding? What's the cruise?
The cruise in?
How's that working out?
Oh man, that's that's our best night of the month each month. The first Saturday of each month.
So all you got to do is build a few of those on a monthly basis, and bingo.
Yeah.
I think
everyone's happy.
Now it's starting to cool off again. I think the cruising goes until November. I think in September, October.
First Saturday in November.
We need to get the tent out and set up in front of Buddy's and do a show and interview some of the people with some of the cars and talk about, because it's a big deal. It brings people to the area, and they're eating at every restaurant. Rocky Mount Burger, Ippies, everybody.
Everyone benefits.
Everybody benefits.
Sharing the love.
And it's awesome. The food trucks. I think Ella's does some of her food trucks, and I think they had a barbecue guy down at the farmers market. I mean, it's great for everybody. I mean, there's enough people in town to support it.
You had enough people coming in from out of town for events like that. Like a lot of people, that many cars aren't in Franklin County. That many cars are coming from 2 or 3 counties away, sometimes further. And stuff.
Yeah, we get a lot of outside.
Well, it feeds that whole ethos, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, because they're not going to be out really drinking and driving, so they're going to be getting a hotel or whatever it may be, Airbnb, whatever it is. By the way, Franklin County Board of Supervisors, open up the Airbnb portal and just grow up. But that's my little dig at Board of Supervisors.
Well, I know. I mean, I don't know if anybody ever comes up and says it, but I know there's a lot of people that our social media pages are fairly large and fairly far-reaching. Sometimes people will post and say, "Hey, I'm coming through Rocky Network and I stop," and we've sent plenty of people through there. We've got other people that now say, "Hey, we went to Buddy's and loved it. Now we try and go there once a week for lunch or something like that." I mean, it's. I want people to come here. I want people to spend money. I want people to like, man, this is kind of a cool town. Next time we'll go to Ippy's. Next time we'll go to the Burger Company. Maybe we'll come to a concert. 49 Winchester's coming to downtown Rocky Mount 3 nights. I need to get you tickets, Simon. We got ourselves.
Oh, right.
It's New Year's Eve. Winchester 49 Winchester. It's 49 Winchester. I'm sorry. They are a massively growing band out of deep Southwest Virginia, coal country, where Tara's from, and right after Crawford and Power, they paid at 5 points and sold out pretty quickly.
Wow, that's cool.
And these guys are big, and they're coming for 3 nights. So as much as I like to give the Harvester shit in the town, I will give them kudos for getting those guys in here. Now, it's kind of like the Tyler Childers deal. They get these people in here early before they really blow up, because 49 went, they're about to blow up, and if they already kind of have. So that's going to be a good time. That's going to bring and for me, I've always said bring in acts to stay 2 or 3 nights. Get these acts at the Harvester that have little cult followings, and it doesn't have to be like, if you could find anybody that ever played with the Grateful Dead, just one time, they will have 100 deadheads come here for 2 nights to watch them, and they will stay in hotels. They will eat at restaurants 2 or 3 times. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, it's great to have a good act come into town, but so often that good act comes into town and it's a Thursday night or a Friday night. People come in right off of work. They go to the show and then they go home. They don't have time to eat. They don't have time to stay. But if you bring somebody in for like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Friday, Saturday, and Sunday show, people come in, they stay. They have a cult following. They get in their hotels. They go to all of our restaurants and they say, "Hey man, this is a great little town. I'm gonna follow the Harvester, and then next time they have a show with somebody I like, I'm gonna come back here." Yeah. Like this is rocket science, you know what I mean? So kudos to them for getting 49 Winchester. That's gonna be a great New Year's. I think we need to get y'all tickets for that New Year's Eve show.
Oh, for sure. Now, have you seen an uptick in business with the Harvester and the Harvester crowd coming back online?
Yes, when it's the big shows. Yes,
when it's the big shows.
Yeah.
There's something I came across this last week, and I was up at the Social House.
Mm-hmm.
What a venue that is!
Great place. And
they've got. I don't know if you went downstairs into.
I have not made it down there. He's telling me about it, but I have not been down.
Not the basement with the.
Hey, we got. We must be more important than Buddy. We got the tour.
Well, I got a second tour this week.
Oh wow! Well, Simon's much more important than both of us. It's the accent.
True. It's the accent.
I have to do the mullet to get recognized. Yeah. Simon, on the other hand, all he's got to do.
I just smell like smoke.
All he's got to do is open those freaking.
I was choppers. Up there. Now, when we did the original tour there, we went down and saw where the floor had collapsed, and there's all this rubble in a certain element of the basement there, and the frame and blocks of 3 old moonshine cars from the 20s that collapsed through the floor after the fire. That was one element. Well, the last time I was there last week, I went down into the live performance basement, and it felt like almost and having never been there, it's hard to say this, but anyway, it gave me the feeling of this is the Cavern Club. You're down in the basement. I'm not going to say it's grungy, but it's got that earthy feel about it. You're down in the basement. They got the stage. The bar is up on risers. It's a big area that they can probably have 100 plus people in, as a live music venue.
Yeah.
And they're looking to explore this. And I'm not looking to take away from what the Harvester is doing, because I think they're coming online with some of their stuff. They're finally delivering. But to have another venue such as the Social House and maybe that smaller, inclusive, that
Club
feel,
yeah.
could work very, very well hand in hand with the Harvester. So you may get, well, we'll come down Thursday, we're going to perform Friday and Saturday, but we'll do a sneaky preview at the old Social House.
Or one of the maybe
Everything
just a
works.
guitarist shows up and he says, "I'm gonna do an acoustic set."
Absolutely.
And
So-
nothing says a good time like going and getting hammered in the basement of a place right across from the sheriff's department. I mean, it's,
And the courthouse.
Yeah, exactly.
And the
you really
courthouse.
You really are playing
Two
the most
birds.
dangerous games of chicken you can ever possibly.
Two birds with one stone. But it's
Far to walk.
But hey, that's part of the history of that place because
Yes.
100
used to
years
sell
ago,
sugar out of there.
100 years ago, they had the moonshine in the cars
Uh-huh.
right in front of the courthouse before they fell through. So I mean, this is it's nothing new. We've been tempting fate in this
But
town
it was
forever.
it was. I mean, it's such an sort of an innocuous building. It's. Well, I forget the signage up in the brickwork that's up there, old something house or whatever it may be. But it's quite an innocuous signage, and then when you go in there, it's a very cool little joint.
It is. It's very
You
neat.
know?
My
very
wife
aesthetically
loves one.
pleasing, and
It
it's
is. Yeah.
you go in there and get your little charcuterie board, and the wife likes it, and they got the
Yeah.
wine. And I'm not a wine guy, but they got a handful of decent beers. They got
some beer selections.
yeah.
Yeah.
Bills out of Bedford. I like getting that when I go in there. It's a place to go in there and kind of unwind a little bit and feel like you're English. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man,
like
here
you're
we go.
proper,
Cheeky.
like you're cheeky and proper. You go in
Cheeky
there
chap.
and you drink your wine and
It's.
Put your pinky in.
But again, you still. I'm coming back to the local businesses here, and Buddy's being, an epicenter, right? It's an epicenter.
Well, thank you.
The Smokehouse there is an epicenter, and what you're doing is creating a culinary, I think, custom experience. It's not big box store.
Right.
It's not Applebee's. It's not TGI Fridays. It's not whatever those big box stores do. Buddy's does so much better. Sorry, Rocky Mount Smokehouse.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know.
well, no, you're saying Buddy right here does it
Yeah,
better,
yeah,
because
but-
he's the man behind the
Exactly.
magic, and
So having that custom element to what you're producing is, to me, that's the key to success. You're doing something that is custom, and we've got to support anyone that has a business here that does it differently, has put their blood, sweat, and tears into the business, and doing something that they believe in and love. These people don't do this for the money. The money will come, but you
That's
do
what we
it.
hope. But
We
we do
hopefully.
it to serve the community.
well, you even said that on the last show. Kind of talked about how you got into it. It was just more of a hobby kind of a deal,
It
right?
was, yeah. And
And-
just a passion and
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
cooking is the way of giving love anyway. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I view good cooking. Garbage cooking is so disrespectful. It's just, you're on the line, bang, bang, bang. Everything's pre-prepped, pre-prepared, pre-weighed out. There's one squeeze for this, one squeeze for that. Slap on this, slap on that, bang, off you go. Right, hand over your money now. Piss off as quick as you can.
Yep.
That's not what we have here.
Well, it's an atmosphere too. Every time we go there, we always end up seeing people we know. It never fails. So you're always going to be able to go there, and you're going to be able to socialize. I know a few months ago we showed up and we ended up crashing a Brew Baker's retirement party. So we go back there, and of course, Claire sees the cake and everything. And we jump all over that. You're always gonna have a good time. And I don't think
We do a lot of birthdays. We have a lot of birthdays come in, which is cool. It means a lot to me. That's a special time, and people come in, and I try to, if I catch it or see it, I try to go out and speak. And
Yeah, and be welcoming to that. That's someone's private celebration, and the fact that they go, rather than do it at my house, trash the kitchen, and get all stressed out about what food that I might screw up, and did I have enough of this? Go to the venue that you like the best.
Yep.
Boom. I mean, this is good business.
Yep.
And very rarely, I mean, I love sitting outside. Even when it's cooler outside, I love it. I love that atmosphere. So yeah, I like I like the outdoor atmosphere. I like going there and hearing some live music and having a beer and stuff. You don't go in there and get sloshed. You have the kids and my kids are out there dancing and making the musicians feel like they're on top of the world because Claire's just screaming and cheering and going up there and throwing them money to play "Zombie" by the Cranberries. That's her favorite song.
That's awesome.
So I do enjoy it, and it's such a
Living proof.
you have become a staple just in a short time. You become a staple, like you're a local. You know what I mean? Like you were
And
so
I feel
ingrained
like
in the community.
that's the one thing I feel like I told somebody the other day. I'm not from Franklin County. I didn't grow up here. Grew up in Eden, which it's a similar small town. But you know what? I feel like I am from Franklin County now, and that's awesome to be treated and felt, to be made be able to feel like that. And that's what I tell people that are new there. I said, man, these people here are just it's incredible.
Yeah, you're a staple, and the only thing that goes up from here is with every year you just kind of grow that legend, and every year it's like, well, we've been here 10 years now, I've been here 20 years now, I've been here 30 years, but you have so many cool people coming in and out. Talk about Henry and Josh. I mean,
oh yeah,
these are people who are on
Tim.
TV shows that millions of people are watching every single week, and they just frequent Franklin County. Foster's Greenhouse. That's my buddy Charles down there. I know Josh goes there and hangs out from time to time.
Yep.
I mean, you come into Franklin County, you can get anything and everything. You want to move here, we got good barbecue, we got good steaks. You go to Foster's Greenhouse if you want to grow some stuff here and there. And shout out to them. Charles, my buddy, goes way back, and he helped try and set up. I've been trying to get Josh Owens on this show for a while now, and we kind of had it patterned out. And then after Zaxxon, I just didn't even bother him after that. I want him to get his full recovery, but I know it's going to happen at some point in time.
Oh yeah, definitely, Charlie. Yep.
Between
And
you,
Tim
Charles,
and Tickle.
Henry, Charlie, Mitchell,
we've had
anybody I
Danielle
want, Charles
Partons.
Foster. Yeah, we'll be able to make. I haven't really pressed the issue too awful much because I know it's there, and I know at some point in time it'll happen when it's supposed to happen because we've had so much success with the show, and I think over the past couple of years since we had you on the first time, you've grown so much. We've grown so much.
Yeah, it's awesome to see for everybody.
I know you've. We talked about some of your stories, about you grilled a steak for Clay Walker.
Yeah, I still never forget
have
that.
you
That
had
was
some
cool.
have you had some cool people since then? Since in the past?
we got to feed Aaron Lewis. Got to meet him at Dr. Pepper Park. I met Jody Messina, fed her. Warren Zyder, Blues Traveler. Got to meet them. Blackberry Smoke. Got to meet the whole band, and they signed. They got me I bought one of the beer. They had that new rim beer out. They all autographed it for me. They were happy. And, it's been awesome. I met Tom Kiefer from Cinderella. Got a picture with him. Winger. My 80s, idols right there. And one night got to hang out and meet both of them. Got pictures.
You went down to the Richard Petty a couple years ago as well.
Yeah, we fed Richard Petty a couple of times, his race team. Unfortunately, he wasn't there. This was COVID time, so they were kind of keeping him away from big crowds. But we fed their race team twice right around Christmas. We didn't get to go because they had the new ownership and they're in Statesville now. But would love to have that opportunity back to go feed them. But just met so many people in 6 years. It's just I never would have dreamed of all the people.
Well, I think you're leading from the front. You know what I mean?
Well, we're trying.
Yeah, no, I think you are.
Well, and that's the cool part about it too, and it's really all about what you cherish the most. Kind of like with this podcast, we're not going to be. I don't think we're going to be millionaires off this kind of thing. But the stories we have, the people we've met, the contacts we've had. Yeah. If you can live a good life and be able to meet these people and tell their stories and share their stories and share your craft with them, you can't ask for anything else. You really are passing something down to your kids and grandkids that hey, pretty cool. You got to feed some cool people.
We have, and it's great. I've got autographs and stuff in my office. I still got to get up on the walls. I haven't had a chance to get up there. Met Kenny G I mean, he fist bumped me. That was cool as hell. I mean, Kenny G is like,
Right on.
he is the man.
Well, and I know for us too, and this is how I can say with confidence. I know, when Buddy sits here and he talks about being a part of the community and how much the community matters, I know he's not blowing smoke, because there's been many a times I've hit him up and said, hey man, I've got a show going on here. I got some awesome people. You mind coming up and helping us out? You mind, making some food for us? And I know we brought you up to meet Jimmy Hensley that time.
I met him that time. That was cool. And the Spike. Yep.
And the Spike event was the best, because I got up there
superb.
and I handed Buddy the trout, and he was like, well, I've never done this before. But you know what? Spike said that was the best trout he had ever had in his entire life. For me, that was cool. And for me, that is my good way of showing appreciation to you, for what you've done for the community. And, and I never go in there. I never go in your restaurant and say, hey, buddy, man, why don't you hook me up? But he'll sit there, here's a beer or two. And that's all I really care about. I just want this town to grow. I don't ask anything in return. I never do. Sometimes I'll come to Buddy and say, like I said, help make some food here. Can you do this? And he'll hook us up. Or I'll say, hey, we got this going on right here. I'm going to throw some people your way. Like, that's what's important to me. Like, I don't really care about the money thing. Like, I want to show my appreciation to Buddy. But like, hey, you did us this favor here. Why don't you come hang out with these people right here? And it'll be a really good time. It'll be a really good memory. And that's what I love best about the show and just the town we have around us is people are willing to come and hang out and support you. And it's not always going to be financially beneficial, but I think in the long run, it really will be, because I think we're building something here in Rocky Mount. We're building something here in Franklin County that, despite the negativity that's going on,
we're building something special here.
We really are.
It's happening. I mean, with the hotels, the new stuff the town's doing now, I think the town is really proactive on really wanting to grow, and make this a better place. And I mean, it's starting, and you just see, it's like the steam engine the wheels are starting to turn a little bit, and it's so cool to be, feel like you're part of it, and to be able to watch it and hopefully help make it grow. And that's just to be cool to be a part of that.
Yeah, I'm all into that whole community thing, because I've seen how Floyd does it, and they have that niche little market up there.
They do.
And it's very niche. It's very successful, and it's sustained several businesses through its success. But it's a joint success.
Yep.
And I think
it takes us all.
I think it takes the community, and I'd love everyone to be recognised for it. And that's everyone, that puts their blood, sweat, and tears into making a success for themselves personally, but it makes a success for the community as well. And at that point, you're thriving. And when you're thriving, good things happen.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I think we're like I said, we're doing something good here. I think we're starting to move in the right direction. We're starting to, and as Buddy said, I me, Simon, and I know you, we were probably two of the most critical people in the world when it comes to government, and that's local, state, federal, whatever the case may be. And I don't always necessarily agree with the path taken, but I can say, as Buddy said, there has been at least an attempt here to start putting Rocky Mount on the map, which and not just being so as credit to them and here in town, and for that aspect. I got plenty of other gripes with you all. We can handle it another date, but kudos to trying to at least make Franklin County and Rocky Mount a place, make it a destination. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Whatever your motives may be, I don't really care, because at the end of the day, it's all about getting people here. It's like Donald Trump for me. I don't really like Trump, and he might be completely full of shit, but he puts out a message that's relating to people, and that's all I want. You might be full of shit, government people, but at least you're relaying a message that I can get behind. And I think that by putting that message out there, I can grab a hold to that. We can grab a hold to that, other community members, and we can take it in the direction that's going to say, hey, you know what? We're at least going to ride this freaking wave right here. We're going to bring people here. We're going to bring, we've said this time and time again. What do we have? We've got Nick Robertson right now playing for the Red Sox. We've got Terrell Basham playing for the Bengals. We've got Crawford and Power touring, making waves in the music world. We got Henry Law on a major TV show. I mean, we've got a lot.
Colby Helms.
Is getting ready to move up.
He's getting ready to start touring.
Rick Reed's doing the wrestling thing. He could be any day now getting a call from somebody. I mean, like, we've got so many people, authors, musicians, philosophers, artists. Jennifer Rand for
she is awesome.
She is amazing.
She did all my stuff at my place.
I've been trying to get her on the Jennifer out here. Here in the next couple months. I've been wanting to get her on the show. We've said we're going to do it, and we just need to make it happen. It's just here it is. Like we got so many people lined up wanting to come on and talk about it. We've got so many good opportunities out here, and despite. And despite what anybody may ever think, we always want to continue to support local. I don't care how big we get, we're always going to bring people that are local back on this show because I think it's significant in our approach. Like, listen to the show and kind of get this information, but at the same time, come visit because we're a cool place.
Yep.
I want to have a big shout out actually. I only learned this evening, and there's a backstory, and I'm not going to dwell on it. I'm not even going to go into it. But the resource officers that were budgeted for the schools have been withdrawn from the Christian Heritage Academy. For whatever reason, I'm going to leave it well alone at this point in time. But I've got to have a huge shout out for the Town of Rocky Mount Police Department, who have said, well, you know what, if they've withdrawn the support for sheriff's deputies at the private school, supported by the same taxpayers of the county, the police department is now having a far greater presence at Christian Heritage because of that withdrawal. Now, I have to take my hat off there. Chief of Police and Town of Rocky Mount, I tip my hat to you. You've done the right thing against something that politically is a really, really hot potato. I've got to give them credit for coming out and providing that extra level of security at what really is a private school.
They came out to our event and supported us, and I mean, walked in and bought stuff and talked to people.
So to me, awesome. They have lifted their, they've just lifted that situation immeasurably in my mind, as I knew they would.
Yeah, and like you said, Matt, credit where credit is due. We don't always agree, but at the same time, to be transparent, you always you can't just constantly hate. You have to find ways. You have to find victories, whether they be small victories or big victories. And that's how we've always been on this show. I've got my criticisms, but we will always.
I'm always looking.
We will always give credit where credit is due. That's the difference between us. That's why you can't come hate on us too much because we got the receipts to back it up. We support what needs to be supported. If we got a disagreement, at the end of the day, I might disagree with Holland on 100 things, but I'm still willing to sit down at the table on him on the 5 things we do agree with if it's going to make this town a little bit better. Yeah. And that's all we can ask for. That's all we can do.
So a big tip to the chief.
Absolutely. I think that's a great thing.
Police force.
Yeah, they really doing
They
I saw a gentleman.
They delivered.
Elderly gentleman. I was sitting out front of my restaurant. It was one Monday. It's about a month ago. It was hot. I mean, it was just hot. And this older gentleman had 4 or 5 food line bags, was walking down in front of the restaurant there, and policeman pulled up and parked right there beside the restaurant, got out, walked over, talked to the gentleman, got him in the police car, took him home. I mean,
that's community policing right there.
I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? Like, once again, not to get too deep into my, my beliefs and stuff like that about taxes and all this kind of, but if you're going to have taxes, I would much rather the cops, if they're not, do stuff like that. Like if somebody is really 3 sheets to the wind, taxi service his ass home. I don't care. I would much rather, my couple of dollars out of my paycheck go to getting that guy home than him either going out there and killing somebody else, or him going and ruining his life, getting a DUI and being 10,000 or 20,000 in the hole and ruining his life over a bad decision. I would much rather the cops hey, you know what? So find that happy medium, find those victories, be happy for one. And that's something right there that should be talked about. If a cop is going to go pick somebody up in the hot day, that should be shouted from the rooftops, because you know what? If he were to sit there and run that guy down and had a confrontation and said, well, you can't be walking with these bags, it'd have been all over the place, all over the place. Yeah. But
Well, that
amazing.
that to me is a prime example of community policing, and again, it shows the officers involved are making compassionate decisions, and they're supporting the community. What more can you ask for? I say nothing.
No.
You've just proven yourselves twice in the space of 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, what with supporting Christian heritage with a messed up situation, that's me being very polite about it, and then an old gentleman who's overloaded with groceries in stinking heat. What a great thing to do.
Yeah.
I'd love more people to be able to do that. You know, I mean, that little thing.
Yeah, massive credit.
It's just such a small
things
thing in perspective.
Make it
But
big.
that's a huge impact. So, yeah, I've always supported the sheriff's department, and I've always supported Rocky Mount Police. I mean, it's a tough job. What a compassionate story. Love it.
Well, before we get out of here, I know a couple more things I want to touch on real quick. First off, Buddy, what do you think the future holds? What for you is your plans for the future? Do you have any plans? And I know you kind of touched on expanding or anything, and that you don't have to really touch on that kind of if you don't want, because it might have been tongue in cheek. But do you want to make it to where maybe once every couple of months you have an event like you had this past week with Josh? Something that, do you have any kind of concrete plans right here, or something you would like to see something you might like to see change or something else? Because I'm going to tell you some things I'd like to see change.
Well, I'd like, honestly, my goal is to make our food better. And
That's always what a chef strives for, right?
sometimes I'll taste it and I was like, yeah, that's good, but what can we do to make it better? I'm back in the kitchen some, not as much as I used to be, honestly. It just, there's a lot of things involved now, a lot of parts, where I don't get to get my hands on there, like I used to. But we still strive to want to make a better product for our customers. Expansion, if that happens, it happens. I'm not going to be upset if it doesn't. But I think there might be a day where we do. Do I want 19 locations? No. A couple locations would be nice. But again, if it happens, it happens. But right now, my focus is on making the one I have better. How can I improve it? Making a better place for the community to come and enjoy and continue to enjoy for years to come. That's my main goal right now. And, doing the small events, like I said, that kind of just got thrown together. It just turned out, we got lucky. It turned out great. I couldn't ask for anything better. We'll see how it goes. And, we want to work with like Chase and KC. We're going to do some probably some things with them when we can. We just a lot of times though on weekends, we might have 2 weddings and a food truck event on Saturday, so it just makes it tough to
mayhem ensues.
It makes it tough to try to dedicate those weekends, and we're booking weddings now into 2024, so it makes for some challenging scheduling.
If you're booking, you're good.
Yes,
when you're not booking and it's quiet,
that's when you're like, who?
So, these are good signs.
No, it's good problems to have. It's
These are
definitely
great
not
problems.
a complaint. It's just,
Well, you know what?
but
I
it
think-
does make it tough to,
course it
because
does.
there's things you want to do, but it's like, I've been trying to roll out. We want to do a special. On Wednesdays, we try to do like turkey or something different, some mashed potatoes. I want to do a brisket cheesesteak.
Now that
So
sounds.
that's coming. A couple of weeks. Keep an eye on Facebook.
Well, and even expansion doesn't have to be, duplicating what you got here. You could,
we could do
with
something.
I think what's, Ferrum College maybe starting to make kind of a comeback. We've had Dr. Martin on the show before. There's a lot of good things, a lot of opportunities with
Yeah.
Ferrum. It wouldn't be out of the
Amazing job
realm
there.
not to make it. You wouldn't even have to put an entire rest. You could just put a small little outpost up there that says, "Hey, all we serve here is barbecue, chips, and a drink." Some of the little bowlings, and it doesn't have to be big or expansive, but you get your product out there, and there's just in this ever evolving world. My point is, there are so many opportunities,
right.
so many different avenues we can take and consider.
The McAdoo's issue over in Ferrum is another issue in its entirety that we could do a whole show on.
I don't think anybody knows that that's
Well,
the issue.
and that's an absolute crying shame, because of the culvert that's collapsed.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I guess
who's replacing? Well, I mean,
we have sources that have told us that McAdoo's has looked into coming to Ferrum, which I think would be great because you're talking about bringing so many more people, and they're like,
well, it makes Ferrum a community.
Well, exactly, and you've got parents coming in from out of town who are like, well, I mean, shoot, you know, we come in to see our son play football this weekend. We ate at McAdoo's last 2 times. Let's go to Buddy's this time.
Right.
It always helps.
But
always.
Should it hinge on who's paying, right, state or county or privately even, to fix a bloody culvert?
Well, that's a whole other
So
bunch of nonsense. But there's just
that bureaucratic stuff. But that is a sign of development that we should be embracing, right? Because
it shouldn't be fighting it. It should be.
We should be facilitating it.
You know, that's 20,000. Okay, but it's bringing tax money and it's bringing
exactly.
Yeah,
So
revenue
it's bringing
to
more
the
people back to the area. It's bringing
and the
college people back to
spin-off
area.
from it is absolutely incalculable. So, you know, you've got to look at the bigger picture when it comes to that. This isn't a dollar amount about fixing a bloody culvert as to whether state should pay for it or whether Franklin County should pay for it. Get it sorted, get it fixed, make it presentable, and it will enhance and develop a community within Ferrum.
which we need.
Yep.
So
We need Ferrum thriving. We need Boone's Mill thriving. We need Rocky Mount thriving. We need Westlake thriving. We need all these places that are continuing. As far as the rest of that's concerned, the only thing, buddy, I'm going to make this suggestion because I have to before I go.
Okay.
I think your wings are top freaking notch. Every time I go in there, the wings are on point.
They're on sale 50 cents this week. So just so you know.
Let's throw in a few extra sauces in there. Let's throw in some. There's some white barbecue sauce down in Alabama or something like that. I had our last trip. I think for some specials, maybe some garlic parmesan here and there. I think your wings, your wings are award winning. If we offer a few more options here and there for sauces,
You tried the bourbon?
I haven't yet. The B&D sauce is my go-to.
The B&D bourbon sauce is.
oh, there we go, Billy.
I'm gonna give that one a whirl the next day.
We rolled that out at Wingfest.
And of course, I haven't tried it. It was last week because it's my birthday.
Well, it's
most
actually
years.
been at the restaurant for about 4 or 5 months, but it hadn't been a big announcement. I did do a post on it, but we officially made it big on the Wingfest, and that's actually what sauce I had on the smoked wing that we won with.
That's a great way to go. I think more sauces for the wings. More sauces for the wings, I think, is the absolute way to go. I think, and this is
that's something I
this is
will
just a
definitely keep in mind.
perspective from a fat boy.
We
but
do have a
it's
white sauce
enticing.
already at the restaurant.
Then that's what I'm going for the next time. I have not used that on the wings yet. I have not requested it. But the white sauce or something, I don't know what it is about it.
It goes good with chicken.
It really does go good
and
with
it's,
chicken.
And it's mayonnaise based.
Mayonnaise.
And it does have moonshine in it too.
Oh, outstanding. I mean, what could
Because we
possibly
call
go
ours
wrong?
white sauce, white lightning sauce.
There you go. Hey, trademark it quick.
I know, right? Well, it probably already is. So we probably both keep
Beat them to it. Keep it quiet.
It's delicious. I recommend everybody go there. And for everybody else, hey, what's your address there, buddies?
480 Tan Yard Road.
Okay,
Rocky
that's
Mount,
for anybody coming in from out of town. I'm sure you can go Google it or whatever. It's right next to the high school here in Rocky Mount. Highly recommend it. I don't say this stuff to blow smoke. I really do enjoy going there. I like taking my family there. It is a family atmosphere. I love Buddy Death. I love supporting him. You know, just like I do most of the rest of the places around here in town. I want people to come here and experience it and be able to have the joy that we have.
We're a venue.
We are. Our entire town is a venue. And I'm trying to think. There was something else before I got off here I wanted to say, but I can't even. It's slipped my mind at this point in time. I'm about to think about it for the next go round.
It's gone into the depths of Billy's mind.
Oh, no.
Oh, good Lord.
Somewhere hidden in the meme farm with my picture of my shorts, I guess.
Pink shorts.
So, I know what I wanted to say. Here, come back to me. Great.
Bingo.
I think,
Pink
you know,
shorts
Did you
made
see
of
that?
chickens, yeah.
Did you see that work? Her cogs were turning.
I think we need to start finding ways to do some more live shows, not only at the Burger Company, because we've talked to Buddy, we've talked to Brian. We need to do more live shows because I think people are interested in some of these guests that we have. Why not go there? The Paul Hall episode, I think it did really well. I mean, the place stayed packed the entire time. Music, you might get people coming in and out, and with us, you want to stay there the entire time, and you want to listen. You want to end the story. So I want to do some more audience shows. I love maybe next time we can get Josh and Henry or somebody on and do a show at the Burger Company or
at my place.
At your place, because I know we've talked about doing one with Henry and Philip Gibbs, perhaps maybe at the Burger Company for your place. Henry, Josh, because we've got so many cool people, and I think sitting around and having people listen to those stories and be able to ask questions and stuff, it's good for us, good for you, good for everybody. So I want to step into the live world again with Simon, maybe dip our toes back into it here.
Well, the last time was a bit of a disaster for you, Billy.
Which time is that?
Basham.
Well, no, that wasn't live. That wasn't an audience. That was just recording at the Burger Company. What I'm talking about is like the Paul Hall show where we record in front of an audience where you got 30 or 40 people sitting around listening to your every word, which was nerve-wracking the first go around, but it was a success. A lot of people showed up, and thank everybody, even though it was a couple years ago. Thank y'all for showing up. So I'd like to do more. I would like to have 300 people show up and be sitting in lawn chairs out front for us to have a show with somebody. So the more support you give us, the more support we can give Buddy, the more support Buddy can give us. Yep. And eventually, at some point in time, we can make things like this happen. I think we're on the right track. We got a huge shout-out last night. We're doing great things. Patreon.com/GetOnTap is where you can go to support us, or at GetOnTap for Venmo and Cash App if you want to do a one-time thing. If you don't, it doesn't matter either way. I'm not in it about the money. I would just like to pay the bills. I'm in it for the good time, and this has been another good time here tonight. Hanging out with Buddy. I wish it could have went on a little bit longer. We ended up having a bunch of different variables come into effect today, but we'll definitely have Buddy back on here again.
Without question, he's a staple.
Because I always enjoy it. I always enjoy it.
He is a staple of this community and this podcast. Come on.
Yeah, one of the first to be around. I'll never forget that and never stop showing my appreciation for that. And from here on out,
thank you for having me.
The bigger we get, the bigger we get, and fortunately, hopefully, the more prominent names we have on the show, I still want them to, when they come into town, say, "Hey, buddy, come over here and grill them a steak or smoke them some fish," or
I'll be happy to do that.
Because it really does.
You've been the ultimate host up at the cabin, I have to tell you. You have blown the socks off of being able to entertain people, but not just entertain people with your food, but with your personality.
Well, thank you.
And it can't get any better, right?
No, not at all.
It really can't.
Oh, well, only if I was prettier.
That's why we have charm. Everybody in this room. That's why he has
all we
the
got going
accent.
for us
That's
is
why
charm.
he has the mullet. That's why you have the charm. We have to.
We're sharing.
Yeah,
because caring is sharing.
There are no George Clooney sitting in this room right now. I can tell you that much. So, Simon, Buddy, thank y'all very much for being a part of this, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you having me.
Bless you, buddy.
Signal while changing lanes. They pulled him over, found her cocaine. She said, "I love you, yes, I love you forevermore." If you tell that cocaine load is yours, he spent time locked up, she ran around, everyone knew it, small country town, while he lay rotten, Lord, she was blowing on his door. And the day they released him, just another low down woman that a man can't trust. They released him, no one was there. Had she forgotten? Did she still care? He called up her mama, Lord, and these words he heard her cry. Lord, that no good daughter of mine spend all your money on cocaine, overdosed and died. Lord, it's ashes to ashes, and you know it's dust to dust. Just another low down woman that a man can't trust. In the spring, one sunny day, my good gal left me and she went away. Now she's gone, I don't worry, because I'm sitting